Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for tuning in for part 3 of my top 100 cards countdown. When we last left off at the end of part 2, we finished with card number 51, the 2001 Topps Traded Albert Pujols rookie card. And today we're going to get into some incredible cardboard as we crack into the upper half of the list with cards 50 through 26. So let's get right down to it. And card number 50 is a brand new card on the list, and it represents a type of card that I never thought I would get into, but have really fallen in love with over the last year or two, and that is the Chrome or Chromium 1/1. In Topps, they're known as Superfractors. In Panini, they're known as Gold Vinyl. And I have in slot number 50, the 2023 Panini Prism Gold Vinyl Sam Rice. Check this card out. Of course, those all too familiar swirls from the Chrome 1/1s. These look gorgeous in hand. Absolutely adore this card. Panini, starting in the year 2023, they lost their MLBPA license, so they were no longer allowed to show active players even without the logos. And in order to deal with that, they made a transition to show a lot of the old-time greats, Hall of Famers, dead ball era guys. And I love the juxtaposition between modern Panini Shine and these great players of old. So I went way down the rabbit hole, kind of super collecting Sam Rice in 2023 from the Prism set, culminating in the acquisition of his Gold Vinyl 1/1. Just so happened to be graded a PSA 10. Doesn't really matter to me. It's the only copy, regardless of the grade. But I love the look of this card. I love the colors. I love the pose of Sam there. And I'm really motivated by his life story. He overcame incredible adversity, had a tremendous family tragedy right at the outset of his professional baseball career that really wiped out his entire family. The generation before him, the generation that was level with him, and his children that were coming after him. And for him to get past that and then put together a Hall of Fame baseball career with over 2,900 hits, a World Series championship, and eventually enshrinement into Cooperstown. It is one of the ultimate stories of overcoming adversity in the history of baseball. So I love Sam Rice and his story for that reason, and chose that beautiful Gold Vinyl 1/1 as card number 50 in this iteration of the countdown. At number 49, we're going to go to more towards classic vintage baseball next. It is the 1962 Topps AL home run leaders from the season prior, of course, in 61, and very obvious why this one makes the list. I know I'm not alone in this, but I am very, very into collecting the American League home run record on cardboard, whether it's Maris cards from the 60s or Aaron Judge cards from this very decade that we're in now. I love this collection. It's an entire separate collection that I have trying to assemble my 62 greatest AL home run related cards. And this one is an important piece of that. It might be my favorite leaders card of all time, just because it symbolizes the incredible struggle that summer. Roger Maris competing with his teammate Mickey Mantle, who we see lower left, for that hallowed record that many fans of baseball and Yankees fans didn't want to see him break. And of course, it's well documented the incredible amount of stress and mental pressure that Roger was subjected to that summer. And I just think it's an incredible story in the history of sports. And this card represents it better than maybe any other card in existence. And it's a cheap card as well. You can get a nice graded copy like this for under $100, which I think is just borderline crazy. So the 62 AL home run leaders card in at number 49. Number 48, we're going to jump up to modern baseball, even I guess ultra modern. I struggle sometimes with the definitions, but a player who has taken the sport and the globe by storm, Shohei Ohtani. This card was number 39 last time on the list. It does slide a little bit to number 48 here, but it's his 2018 Bowman's Best. This is the throwback to the 1998 Bowman's Best design, but it's the atomic refractor. And look at the shine on this card. Apologies for the glare. It's a little bit light in here today, but just a gorgeous rookie year Shohei. Probably my best rookie year Shohei. And obviously I can't compete with the major Ohtani collectors out there, but I do want some representation of this generational player in my collection. He is someone who is going to go down in history and be remembered decades from now. You hear a lot of conversation about, which players have lasting staying power in the hobby and which are going to be forgotten. And I think he's one that I would list up there with the Babe Ruths, Hank Aaron's, Jackie Robinsons of the world, where 100 years from now, I think they will still be talking about Shohei Ohtani. So pumped to have that rookie year card in at number 48. Number 47 now, we've got another modern card, and it's a buyback. This is the 2022 Topps Chrome Aaron Judge X-Fractor, but it's part of the buyback program that was then reissued in 2023 Topps Chrome. And it's a little tough to make out, but there is a gold stamp here, you can see it there, that says 2022 MVP. So Topps started this program in 2022/2023, where whoever wins the MVP, you can sell your Topps Chrome cards of that individual back to your hobby shop for store credit to spend on other cards. The shop then sends them back to Topps. Topps stamps them and reissues them the following year as kind of a rare buyback insert. Now, what's cool about this, two things that are cool about it. I got this card in trade from my buddy and yours, Adam, over at Vintage Sanctuary. And the reason I was drawn to this and accepted the trade ultimately, this is copy, as you can see in the upper right, 62 of 100. So I can't think of a better version of this buyback card that exists than this one right here. I love serial numbering when it matches up with something significant, like the statistical feat or the uniform number, anything like that. So this is a killer card to represent that home run record by Aaron Judge, which is a huge part of my overall baseball card collection. So number 47, the Aaron Judge buyback, number 62 of 100. Number 46 now, one of my favorite and very affordable vintage hockey cards. This is the 1979 OPC Gordie Howe. Now this is great because it's his final card, and he's with my hometown Hartford Whalers, which I love, so I'm a little bit biased here, but I'm a big fan of players' final cards, and Howe had been in the league forever. I mean, you can tell he looks like an old man here, and he almost was. Not an old man, but he scored his final NHL goal for Hartford. I think he was 52 years old, and that is mind-blowing to me. So I think this is a great card for that reason. It's also the set that Wayne Gretzky's rookie arrived in, so it's kind of a passing of the torch in this set between Gordie Howe and Wayne, the two best players in my estimation, at least at forward, of the 20th century. And so this is a card that I think is sneaky good. These have my favorite hockey card backs of all time with that great skate design. And you can get this very, very cheap just because it's his final card. This is the O-Pee-Chee version, but if you go Topps, it's even cheaper than O-Pee-Chee, and you can probably get a nice graded, high-grade Topps example of this card for like 50 bucks. So can't recommend that enough for those of you that are into vintage hockey or looking to build out a vintage hockey collection. All right, number 45. This is a rare case where this card actually moved up the list. So despite all the additional competition from the new cards that I've shown, this card has moved up from number 71 last time around all the way up to number 45. And again, it's not a rare or expensive card at all, but it's a significant one. It's the 86 Topps traded Barry Bonds, his official rookie card from Topps. Of course, you could go the Tiffany route, and I would love to maybe someday acquire one of those just for the additional scarcity and rarity. But this Topps card is fantastic. This is the rookie of the, albeit controversial, Home Run King. So I view this card just like I do a 1954 Topps Hank Aaron or, a 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle. This is the rookie card of one of the best players ever to play the game. Because it's from the 1980s, it's not expensive. And I love the color match here of the black and the yellow and the white in the design with the uniform. Great portrait image there of a guy who would go on to basically break baseball, 15 years or so after this card was released and record that 73 home run season. So even though it's controversial and even though it's the National League, and I tend to focus on the American League, this card is important and makes my countdown for many of the same reasons as that 62 Topps AL home run leaders. And again, a lot of cards that we're seeing today, at least half of what we've seen so far, are readily available and very affordable. Okay, number 44, we've got a vintage Mickey Mantle here. It's the 1958 Topps All-Star, and this is on here for a couple of different reasons. It was the first playing era Mickey Mantle that I ever owned. albeit a different version than this one. I've upgraded over time. It's the first ever all-star subset in any top set, as has been well documented, and I'm sure most of you know. It looks fantastic. I mean, I love the image here. The red stars, or the red background with the white stars, the action swing here from Mantle. And most importantly, it was double printed, so it's not expensive relative to his other cards. It's readily available. There are tons of copies of this out there. So if you're a budget collector and you're looking to get into Mickey Mantle, this is a great way to go. I just adore this card. First saw it as a kid collector, hanging out with my friends, and one of my friends' dads had a copy of this, and I'd wanted one ever since, and happy to have that one in the collection. Probably, one of the most affordable 1950s Mickey Mantle cards for sure. We're going to go way back now for card number 43 to the year 1888. This is a Scraps Tobacco James Tip O'Neill for St. Louis. It's kind of a die cut type card, as you can see here. This one is a mind blower just because up until really recently, even just a few years ago, I wasn't aware that I would be able to afford a baseball card from the 1880s, much less a significant player like this. In fact, O'Neill had a Triple Crown season in 1887, the year right before this card was issued. So this is kind of an indirect member of my Triple Crown related card collection, but it makes the list, and it's an important card for me just because I think anything this old is incredibly cool. So you can consult, I think John Mangini, Doug over at DK Cardboard, and others have talked about this Scraps Tobacco release. They may not have even come in tobacco, if I recall, but they were pack issued, quote unquote. So one of the earliest examples of a pack issued card. And again, just mind blowing to me to have something that looks this good, that is well over 100 years old, and won't be too long now before it's coming up on 150 years old. And to me, that's just mind blowing. So Tip O'Neill in at number 43. Number 42, this is another one, kind of like the Joe DiMaggio that we saw earlier, the 40 play ball, that I think many others would rank a lot higher than this. But I have it all the way down at number 42. It's my Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card from 1955. I love Clemente, I really do. I love this card. I did a great job finding a pretty well-centered version when I picked this up years back. There is a surface wrinkle, let me try to get it here, on the left portion of the card. Yeah, there you go, you can just see it kind of heading from the border towards his cheek, which does drive me a little nuts. But obviously when you're buying, I'm on a budget. I'm not a multi-millionaire or anything like that. And when you're buying cards this expensive, it took me a lot of saving and selling, and you have to sacrifice something. So I wanted the centering and the overall visual appeal put up with that small crease. But yeah, obviously a very historically important and iconic card. And again, if we were ranking these, or if I was ranking these based on iconic nature or monetary value, this would be way up the list, probably in the top 20. But as it stands for me, it's at number 42. I like it, but I just like the other cards that we're about to see in the countdown a little bit more than this one. And that crease does bug me a tiny bit, even though it's just a surface crease. So I've actually debated about, just like the Joe D, selling this card. It's not a rare card, even though it's an expensive one. So if I were to sell this, I always could get another Clemente rookie, potentially at some point down the line. But for now, it remains in the collection, and it's a very worthy number 42. Number 41, we have a vintage hockey card, and it's Phil Esposito, somebody who I think is criminally underrated in the hobby. I mean, hockey overall is very underrated, in my biased opinion, but Phil Esposito was an absolute sniper. He is still near the top of the record books when it comes to career goals, most goals in a season. He was scoring, particularly in the 1970s, at a rate that really nobody had ever seen before and wouldn't see again until Wayne Gretzky came around. So, obviously Howe had the record due to his longevity, but in terms of incredible seasons, racking up tons of goals, Phil Esposito could score like nobody else. He was known for just kind of hanging out in the crease, getting those dirty goals. In fact, there was a bumper sticker that was popular in the 70s here in the Boston area that said, like, Jesus saves, Esposito scores on the rebound, or something like that, which I think is pretty funny. But a sneaky tough rookie card from 1965. These are near impossible to find centered. It took me years to find this copy. I'm incredibly proud to own it. And I really do think it deserves to be where it is at slot number 41. And you may think it's crazy that I put my Phil Esposito rookie card ahead of my Roberto Clemente rookie card in this countdown, but those are my subjective feelings at this point in time, and Esposito just wins out. All right, at number 40, we have another one that's kind of like the Roberto Clemente here. I may get a little flack in the comments. It's my 1953 Topps Willie Mays. And, on a different day, this could be higher within the top 20. But realistically speaking, I love 1953 Topps, but I don't love this card as much as I do other Willie Mays cards for whatever reason. I'm not trying to talk down my own cards. Any card that makes this list after my 18 years of hobby involvement is obviously one that I feel strongly about and like quite a bit. It's a fantastic card. It's, of course, part of the high number series, pretty difficult to obtain. For what it's worth, it does have the silly PWCC top 30% above average, eye appeal for the grade. I don't care. Really, what it comes down to is this is the best example that I could afford to scrap the money together for at the time that I bought it, visually speaking, and it's a really, really strong example. So great Willie Mays from his time in New York, which I love, coming in at number 40. And much like the Joe DiMaggio and the Roberto Clemente that we just talked about, that one would be higher up if this was based on, ranking of monetary value. But as far as my subjective liking of the cards, it's currently sitting at number 40. Number 39 now, we're going to get back to Ultra Modern, and it's a card that has a direct tie to the 1962 AL home run leaders that we talked about earlier in this installment from 2023 Topps. This is from the Chrome Sapphire release. This is the AL home run leaders card, the equivalent of this one, but of course from the year 2022, where Aaron Judge clubbed 62 home runs to beat Roger Maris's record of 61 years later. Just love how that all turned out. And this is probably my rarest example of this card. I kind of did collect a rainbow of these just because I love what this represents. Of course, right on the back, you've got the 62 dingers with Mike Trout coming in second with 40. So I love that Trout, who's a player that I love, is depicted on this as well. And this is the red Sapphire Refractor, numbered to 5 copies. You can see here, this is copy 3 of 5. So just an incredible card that is a cornerstone of that American League home run leaders collection that I spoke of when we talked about the Maris card. So let's clean up a little bit of these in the foreground here and continue on into the, into the top 40 now. We've got number 38, and this one is an outlier. And again, just because it's my list, there's going to be some unique items here that are just based on my nostalgia and my history. And this is certainly one of those. From 2010, Allen and Ginter Baseball, they did a Tony Hawk card, and I have here a PSA DNA autographed version of that Tony Hawk. And there's a lot I could say here. I talked about it a while back when I showed this card on the channel originally, but growing up in the 90s, Tony Hawk was like larger than life. I was a kid during the era of like the X Games breaking out and skateboarding really like reaching new heights of popularity. In fact, if I wasn't out playing ice hockey or soccer, I was definitely a fervent skateboarder there, at least in my high school years. Brought my board to school every day, would skateboard after school. Obviously was never anywhere near as competent as the wonderful Tony Hawk, but he goes down in my mind, and I'm not an expert on this, but as far as my memory goes, he is the greatest overall skateboarder in the history of the sport. He did street and half pipe, and it was just a really early I guess, icon in the world of skateboarding. And again, growing up in the 90s, I idolized this human being as much as any other athlete that we're seeing on this countdown or that exists in my collection. And so tracked this one down within the last year or two. Wanted to get a copy that was special in some way, and found this gorgeous, large on-card autograph. And that one makes number 38 on this iteration of the countdown. Number 37, one of my best pulls that I've ever had. It was Christmas Eve back in 2015. I've told this story before. Was stopping by my local Target to get some last-minute gifts, and they had a tin of Upper Deck Hockey. And I picked it up just on a whim, thinking maybe I'll get lucky enough to pull the Connor McDavid rookie card. And wouldn't you know it, I kid you not, and I did document this on my blog that I was running at the time, in the very first pack out of the tin I pulled the card that everyone wanted, that everyone was chasing, the Connor McDavid Young Guns rookie card. He has gone on to dominate the league in the 10 years since this card was released. Perennial all-star, multiple MVP scoring titles, just arguably the best overall player on skates over the last 10 years. And this is not a cheap card. And had I not been fortunate enough to pull this out of a pack, I don't know that I would own it. Or if I did, it would cost, a significant amount of money where I'd have to sell a lot of other cards and plan to kind of move into the McDavid. But this backstory behind pulling this right around the holidays in an unlikely manner out of a lone retail purchase kind of felt like my version of the Red Ryder BB gun under the Christmas tree. Just couldn't believe I got it. And so that one remains on the countdown and probably always will. We got card number 36 up next from the 1952 Bowman release, Stan Musial. Just one of his most aesthetically pleasing cards that was ever produced. I would put his 53 Bowman right there alongside this one, but I'm a sucker for 50 through 52 Bowman in particular, which we've talked about and we'll see more of as the countdown progresses. This is my personal favorite Stan Musial card that I own at this point in my collecting. And even if I ended up with a rookie card, like say the 48 Bowman, I still think this one would top it just because the visual appeal on this card goes a long way for me. And also I like collecting big seasons. And in 1952, Stan had the best WAR in baseball. He was tied with one other player, but the best WAR in 1952, just a monster year for Stan and a card that I am very grateful to own. I think this is a killer example. I've talked about it in the other countdown segments, but I like to try to find low to mid-grade cards that look better than their assigned grade. And if that's a 2, I will take all of my 1950 Bowman cards or 52 Bowman cards in a 2. Thank you very much. So Stan Musial coming in at number 36. Number 35 now, we've got another hockey card, and then we're going to return to baseball. It's a buyback. This is originally the 1990-91 Upper Deck Jaromir Jagr rookie card, but this is a 20th anniversary buyback that came out in 2010. Extremely rare. I've only seen one other copy of this ever go up for sale. I love buyback cards, as you know, and this card, it was the first Upper Deck hockey release and probably the biggest overall rookie in that release. Jaromir Jagr, future Hall of Famer. The only reason he's not enshrined yet is because he's still playing overseas in Russia or thereabouts. And yeah, this card is a monster. And because it's the best rookie card in the first Upper Deck hockey set, it kind of reminds me in a way of the 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. on the baseball side of the house, only an extremely rare buyback version. So that one comes in at number 35. And that was number 21 last time around, so it slid down a little bit as some new bloods come into the countdown. At number 34, a really new card here, came out just last year in 2024 and represents a monster season. It's the Topps Black Shohei Ohtani. Of course, he had the first ever 50-50 season in Major League Baseball history and was also a key piece in marching the Dodgers to a World Series championship. So his first season in LA, after getting out of kind of the mess that was the Angels organization, apologies to my Angels collecting friends, was as good a success as anyone could have hoped. A season for the ages. And I think folks are going to look back on this card in the future as being really important, being his first flagship Dodgers card that represents that incredible individual feat and the incredible team feat of capturing that World Series. I already talked about Ohtani earlier in this episode with that Bowman's Best Atomic Rookie Year card, so I'll keep it to that for now. But Topps Black, one of my favorite modern parallels, exceedingly difficult, and I'm very proud and humbled to own this copy of his 2024 graded a PSA 9. So that is card number 34. Coming in at 33, an iconic hockey card from my childhood go-around in the hobby, the 1990-91 score, Eric Lindros, and this is the autographed version, PSA DNA. He signed this and inscribed it Hall of Fame 2016 as well. It's hard for me to describe for those that weren't in the hockey card hobby back in 1990, but this card was huge. The hobby exploded in hockey in 1990, just like it did in baseball in the late 80s in terms of many other manufacturers jumping into the pool. And Score in 1990 was the only company that produced an Eric Lindros card, and he was like the next thing. He was the heir apparent. He was going to be the next Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. Injuries and concussions kind of prevented that from happening. However, he still put together a lengthy and Hall of Fame level career. But this card transports me right back to the hobby as it was 35 years ago. And to get this beautiful autographed version, which was not exceedingly expensive, just gives me all the nostalgia feels and earns its way all the way up to number 33 on this iteration of the countdown. Number 32 is a golden era of baseball rookie card here of a bridge player who began his career in the Negro Leagues. It is the 1951 Bowman, Monte Irvin. Just adore this card. I love the trees in the background, the post-swing image. I've mentioned it earlier in this countdown, but 51 Bowman, a set that is really, really, really growing on me. And this one will probably always be on this list for as long as I do it. In fact, this card actually moved up 4 spots despite all the new competition. It was at number 36 last time around, and it moves all the way down to number 32 here. The Monte Irvin rookie card, just fantastic. Okay, we're at 31 now. And we have what I think might be the only soccer card in the list. I do love soccer, I love collecting it, but it's just really hard to place against all these great baseball and hockey cards. But this one is special and I think deserves it. From the 2018 Panini Prism World Cup release, this is the Prism or Silver Kylian Mbappe. So this is not a rookie card. His rookies came in 2017. This is technically a second-year card, although many erroneously do call it a rookie. But I love this card for what it represents. And for those who aren't soccer fans, to me, the World Cup is the greatest tournament in sports. The global views that it draws, the whole entire world is on edge as this tournament is going forward in a way that really nothing else does. Maybe the Olympics, you could say, but I think the World Cup, in my mind, even exceeds the Olympics in terms of magnificence. And this guy in 2018 was a teenager participating in the World Cup for France and was arguably the best player in the entire tournament. He was a dominant scoring force, became the youngest teenager to score in the finals since Pele, you heard that correctly, and led France to a World Cup. It really launched him into superstardom, and he has continued to be one of the absolute premier strikers in the game of soccer or football ever since. Love Mbappe. He's my favorite soccer player to collect, and I became a just giant fan of his watching him in that tournament in 2018. And of course, in the last World Cup, he had just as impressive a performance, once again taking France all the way to the finals, where they lost in dramatic fashion in penalty kicks to Leo Messi and Argentina. But that finals game was one of the best soccer games I've ever watched in my life. And Mbappe certainly did everything in his power to propel France to a win, although they ultimately came up short. So I can't wait to see him in action in the 2026 World Cup next year. And this card is, as soccer cards go, to me, this is as important a card as it gets. And just really, really honored to have that one in the PC. We're getting into the top 30 now. And we've got at number 30, a 1980 O-Pee-Chee Mark Messier. This is his rookie card. I love this set. We saw the Wayne Gretzky from this release way back at the beginning of the countdown. Love Messier. He's probably the greatest champion in the history of hockey. Captained 2 different franchises to a Stanley Cup. Of course, the Oilers during the high-flying era of the 80s, and then later helped the New York Rangers to capture a Stanley Cup in that famed 1994 classic as well. So he's up there in every category statistically, goals, points, championships. He just did it all. He's still involved with the game as a color commentator to this day. And his rookie card, I think, is a sneaky, undervalued and sneaky important card in our hobby. So I'm very, very, I have no problem with this one being all the way up at number 30. In fact, this is another one that I think has moved up the list. It was number 41 last time around, but has moved up 11 spots because I just continue to see the importance and the significance of this Mark Messier card. So number 30, the Messier rookie. In at number 29, we have a relic card here of a Hall of Famer, and it's Joe DiMaggio from the 2007 Upper Deck Sweet Spot Classic release. And look at the relic on this card. It's like the old wool uniforms. That thick pinstripe is right on there, that Yankee pinstripe. It blows my mind like that I could have a card like this in my collection. It truly feels like something that should be in a museum somewhere. And I know it's only a small swatch of his jersey, and I know there are collectors out there that'll say, what a shame they cut up, DiMaggio's jersey and pants to make little swatches on baseball cards. But to me, I see the appeal of this. This is an opportunity for a collector like myself on a limited budget to own an actual piece of history here. Just incredible. I mean, the Yankee Clipper, the streak, so many stories growing up that I heard about Joe DiMaggio. He was a name that was larger than life and really a cultural icon. And so this is one of my favorite relic cards in my entire collection. And I have this well above the actual playing era Joe DiMaggio from 1940 play ball on the list. So that tells you how strongly I feel. If I could only keep one or the other, I would rather have this relic card than the 1940 play ball. I like this card a little bit better. So Joltin' Joe in at number 29. At number 28, a card that was maybe my favorite overall card in my childhood, the Cal Ripken Jr. multiplayer rookie card from 1982 Topps. Throughout my childhood run, which was from about maybe say like age 7 through 14 or so, this was probably my most prized card that I had. My dad had given me one year for my birthday a vending box of 1982 Topps baseball, and I did pull a Ripken rookie out of it. This is my more recent version that I picked up graded just because I really love this card. Again, not expensive. I think even in a PSA 9, you can get one of these for around $100. If you want to go ungraded or in a lower grade, you could probably get one for $50. And to me, he's just such an important force. Of course, that incredible record, breaking Lou Gehrig's streak and kind of restoring some popularity to baseball after that unfortunate 1994 strike brought the season to an end. And I will forever remember Ripken breaking that record and what a big fan I was of him growing up. He was one of my big 3 players that I collected as a kid, alongside Will Clark and Nolan Ryan. And this card will always hit me with a nostalgia level that is above and beyond the majority of the other cards in the hobby. And for that reason, it is all the way up at number 28. At number 27, just 2 more to go here. Thanks for sticking with me. This is another sneaky tough card related to the AL home run record. It's the 2022 Topps Black Aaron Judge. Of course, the year that he broke the record, he's card number 99 on the checklist, which is his uniform number. I love Topps Black, just like the Shohei that we saw a few cards back. These are really tough to grade, tough to find at all. And to get this in a PSA 9, I think is pretty incredible. Used to have this in a lower grade. This 9 popped up at a price that I just could not pass up and ended up moving on from my lower grade copy and kind of upgrading into the 9. This is a card that will always be included in my 62 card overall AL home run tribute collection. And it might be my favorite 2022 Judge card, numbered to 71 on the back, and just an incredible piece of cardboard. Then the final card for today, in at slot number 26, a really iconic one. Many call it the last true rookie card. It's the 1980 Topps Rickey Henderson rookie. Of course, recently passed very sadly and unexpectedly last year. Definitely, to me, the greatest leadoff hitter in the history of the game of baseball. I'm not even sure you could dispute that. First ballot Hall of Famer, all-time stolen base king, incredible power. He did it all. He had a personality that really gave him the it factor. So in addition to being good on the field, that translates over to him being popular in the hobby as well, which is not always the case. And as I alluded to when I first showed it, often referred to as the last true rookie card, because the era of Topps exclusivity came to an end after 1980. And beginning in 1981, if you had a player's rookie card, you could rightfully ask, well, which rookie card? But when you say the Rickey Henderson rookie card, this is the card everybody thinks of just by default. So really significant card. And another one that, depending on your pickiness and how nice an example you're looking for, is not prohibitively expensive, especially given his level of talent. Greatest leadoff hitter in history, and somebody who I would include in my starting 9 across the entire, almost 150 years of baseball. So an iconic card, not a rare card or anything, but one that I am really pleased to include just outside the top 25 at number 26. And as such, the final card in today's video. Really appreciate you giving me, again, 30 plus minutes of your time. I will be back really soon with the conclusion of the countdown, part 4, featuring the overall top 25. So keep an eye out for that coming soon. In the meantime, just keep enjoying the hobby, everybody. Take care.